Hello, everyone, and welcome to the healing subscription for today. For some reason, it feels like we haven't done this in a while, but it's just been a week, on my side at least. So, in today's session, we are combining the Wands of Horus cards, and I'm combining that with life alignment. I've got my remote healing chart set up with the cards already in place. I've dowsed where they needed to go, and I've also already dowsed what our sequence will be for today. And so we will put it all together. I haven't done any analysis yet, so I'm going to do the analysis today as we are recording. So as always, so let's get going with our setup for today. And I'm going to share screen with you. Right, and we're going to start off by connecting and tuning in as we always do. So find a moment to settle in. Perhaps take a few cleansing breaths. So inhale deeply. Exhale through open, relaxed mouth. Another cleansing breath. Inhale. And exhale through open, relaxed mouth. One more inhale through the nose. Exhale through an open, relaxed mouth. Our light code that I chose for today is the light code for the December solstice, because we are almost there. It's another day or two before we are at the solstice, I think 2 days. So allow your eyes to rest on the light code, perhaps trace it, and just find a moment to connect with what it is that you would like to receive, what it is that you would like to clear or release, where it is that you want to find healing. And set that intention as you focus on the light code. So we're all connecting with the same light code. The light code is already on the remote healing chart along with the Wands of Horus cards. So you know that you'll tune into the same frequency. Just be clear about what it is that you would like to receive, release, or heal in today's session. If you need more time, you are welcome to pause the recording. When you're ready, you may open your eyes. Well, your eyes will probably be open already. If they are closed, then you may open your eyes. Okay, so let's have a look at what came through in today's session. I've got our notes here. So the emotion that came up in relation to whatever it is that you selected for your goal or your focus for today is territorial, and it's in relation to expectations. Now, this is something that runs quite deep, so you may not be completely conscious of what this emotion means for you, territorial, because it's sitting on the dimension of miasm. Now, miasm is a stain or something that's to do with the DNA. So miasms normally come up when it's something that we inherited from our parents or from their parents or from their parents. And it's something that is like a filter that filters the way we see the world and that changes how we perceive things. So perhaps now that you know that we're looking at something on a much deeper level, just think of the emotion territorial, whatever that may mean for you, and in relation to expectations. So what is your expectations around territorial? And just allow that to sink in. You don't have to analyze too much, but try and feel what it feels like for you. In relation to territorial and expectation, we have a sabotage or an excuse or a shadow belief that we're working with here. And the belief is, I love to be loved, or I do not love to be loved. So again, just drop into what that means for you. I love to be loved. I do not love to be loved. And the emotion that sits with this sabotage is remorse or regret. and it's in relation to repulsion. So perhaps a time in the past, or maybe it's even in the present, where we are repulsing or pushing away something or someone that is directing love towards us, and there is some form of regret or remorse. It could be something that happened years ago. Perhaps you weren't in the right state of mind to receive the love, and for some reason you repulsed that or pushed it away. That could have been a pattern that repeats within life. And just how does that fit in with territorial and with expectations? Now, with all of these emotions and sabotages, I dive through extensive lists. I don't, and as I said, I'm not analyzing anything until now, so I'm not sure how this relates to each of you, and each of you will see and perceive and experience these emotions in different ways. So just allow that to come through for you personally and how you would interpret that. Our pre-test, just to check how the balance is going for today, or the things that came up to look at, is the adrenals. And this is all about rising to the challenge to meet the goal, or perhaps feeling that your goal, whatever it may be, is a bit of a struggle. Or it could be that you're struggling to maintain the control in order to get to where it is that you're wanting to go. So that's our one thing. The other thing is that we're getting to a point where we feel perhaps that you're at a crossroads. Perhaps new changes need to be made, new directions need to be taken. And so you're feeling that you're at a bit of a crossroads. I have felt the energy recently. We had quite a clear, almost like a negative drag down for a while. And then we went into the space of openness all of a sudden. And now we're at the place where it goes like, ooh, what's going on? Ooh, this is where I was. This is where I want to go. And we sort of needing to navigate all of those things. Okay, so with life alignment, what we then do is we're going to put all of this information into our system. And again, I had to check which were the points that we worked with or that needed to be working with. And so let's share screen again so we can look at the points. So I'm going to go over all of the points first, and then we're going to input those points. So we're sharing screen back to here. Lots of jumping around with screens today. Okay, so our first point is the detoxification point. And detoxification, usually, this is normally a very good one to come up because it shows us that we are releasing what no longer is serving. Now, to do this point, you're going to take all of your fingertips together to form this little fingertips together point, and that is going to go onto that point. You don't have to do it now, but you could maybe just find where that point is. It's just under the xiphoid process. So you use your sternum in the center of the chest. There's a xiphoid process. So this is the soft bit that you find just under your sternum. So that's going to be our first point, detoxification. If you wanted to, actually, what you could do is just take your fingers like that, place it on that point, and then just give yourself a little bit of a tap just here, up, just behind your hairline. Just give a tap, tap over there, just so that we can place the point in. We're going to combine them all in a moment, but at least we've got the point in and you know where you are. Okay, the next point that came up is pain. Now, pain doesn't have an area on the body. So what I want you to do is to focus, perhaps you have somewhere pain in the body. Maybe your neck is sore, your back is sore, whatever it may be that is causing you pain. Just touch that point, wherever that may be. And once you've got that point touched, then you can tap just behind the hairline. If you have multiple points, you can touch on those multiple points and tap them all in, but find the one that's maybe irritating you the most right now. Our next point is the immune system. And so the immune system is really about how we are connecting with our surroundings or our environment, and how our environment is regulating what is going on. So immune system is all about protection as well. So this is going to be on the sternum, and it's about 2 ribs down or so. So here's your first rib, second rib, so about between the second and the third rib. So don't have to be so like precise about it. It's quite forgiving, the system. So just again, fingers together because we're working with the system, and then just hold that point, and then we're going to tap just behind the hairline so that we can tap the immune system in. So our body is definitely, there's some barriers up in protection. And I think it fits in with our territorial story that we had. Then we've got cell nucleus next. And the cell nucleus is only on the one side of the body. It's only on the left side. And it is, if you look from the ear lobe, we've got an ear line that will follow through. So it's in line with your ear. And it's just between the second and the third rib. So what you'll do is from the left ear, left ear, you're going to go down and then find that point. And it's just one finger, place one finger. So from the earlobe down, place one finger on that point. And once you've got it there, tap it in just behind the hairline. The next point down is, oh, I think I missed one. Have I got it? Oh, there we go. I think I've swapped my slides around. So the next point is the lung on the left. And, oh, sorry, I think our other point was on the right. My brain is also fried. We'll have to do that point again. Where was that point? Yes, it's on the right. Sorry about that one. We're going to just ignore that left point. So it's from the ear. My brain is obviously not functioning with this, and we'll have to do a little bit of something around that. So from the right ear down to the third rib. That one point that we tapped in extra won't make much of a difference. So because the main thing is when we combine them all together. So that's the right. And then we've got the left lung. So this is from actually it's just outside the nipple line, and it is on the soft bit just under your shoulder. So that's also one finger. Just place one finger there and then tap, and that is left lung. So lungs are about our emotions, could be about grief and guilt. The left lung would be about the future, perhaps, or our more receptive side. And so perhaps how do we deal with grief or guilt? And what is the opposite of grief or guilt? Like maybe the joy of receiving, the joy of communicating and bringing into our life the external world. That actually fits in with our territorial. Territorial is about pushing away. That's what we've had. And what the left lung is saying is, can we bring that in? Can we include that into our lives? Next point is the hepatic biliary system. And this is on your right-hand side. I've got my direction right this time. And if you're going to trace your line from your ear line down to the ribs, it's just a little bit outside of that. So you're looking for where you've got this is the bottom of your ribs. There's a little gap there. Then you've got the second rib down. And then that little soft bit between the two ribs here is where you're going to be doing that. This is a system, so we're working with all of our fingers together again. So just place that on the ribs there and then tap that one in. Then we've got the thalamus, and the thalamus is going to be on the left-hand side. So I'm going to flip my brain around here again, and it is just on the inside of the nose. So just on the side of the nose, and there's a point sort of in the middle of your forehead there, and we're going to tap that one in. Now, the thalamus is about your communication within the brain, so it works with the hypothalamus as well. And so this is internal communications within the brain and how the body would process our information that's coming through. And then our final point that we have is the transverse colon. And so with that one, you're going to take your fingers together, and it's going to be like a long line, and you're going to place that on this soft bit. So it's just if you had to sort of center, so from the xiphoid process to the bottom rib, you find roughly the center point for that one, and that is where that point will go. So there, and then just place your fingers in a row and then tap that in. So this is our sequence that we're going to be working with today. And now we're going to import or place that whole sequence in as one. So now we're going to have to do this sequence dance. So I would suggest the best way to work for this is to start with your left hand. I've already planned all of this directions and stuff, and I found that if you start with the left hand, it works really well. We're working with the colors of the rainbow. So we're going to start with the red, then orange, actually red, and then we've got the pain that we're going to bring in, then our orange, then yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. And I'll just talk you through each of them, and I'll just pinpoint where we are as we go through. So left hand, 5 fingers together, place that on the detoxification system. Okay, then with your right hand, hold your pain site. Then with your left hand, we're going to go onto our orange point. And then with the right hand, the yellow point, that's just 1 finger. And then the 1 finger for the green point. 5 fingers together for your light blue point. 1 finger for your indigo point. And then all the fingers together for the violet line. And then using your left hand, just tap behind the hairline. So now that whole sequence is in, and this is why I said it doesn't really matter that we got the 1 point in incorrect earlier, because what is most important here is the main sequence that we've got together. Every time we hit or tap by the hairline, it's almost like we hit the save button. So we're saying this is our point that we're working with. So that becomes our most important point of focus. Right, so now what we want to do is we want to look at our emotions. So there's a whole range of emotions, and I douse through the emotions again. I've got a list here of 4,258 words or emotions, and then about 903 relative words or relational words. So I have not, when I douse, I literally just douse for the numbers. I didn't even look at what the emotions were, so we're going to analyze these together. So our first emotion, and again, these emotions are, rather call them words. First word that came up here is therapy, and it's in relation to principles. Therapy in relation to principles. So just drop into that and feel what that feels like for you. If you hear the word therapy, what feeling or emotion comes up within the body and in relation to principles. If you don't relate to the emotion, just feel into, like, in this moment, when you hear the word therapy in relation to principles, what do you feel within the body? Is it hot, cold? Is there maybe something that feels heavy or light? What do you feel within the body? And just allow yourself to feel that. There's no judgment as to what that should feel like. We're not naming it at all. We're just wanting to get a sense of what happens within the body. The next emotion is vague, and it's in relation to time management. So perhaps you haven't been managing your time properly. Perhaps it's been sort of a little bit vague. We are in that season where everything sort of falls apart at the end of the year. What does that mean for you? Vague in relation to time management. Then we've got self in relation to remorse. Self in relation to remorse. There's our remorse coming up again. Worst in relation to cynicism. I don't know about you, but I tend to be quite cynical, especially in this day and age. So I'm probably the worst over there. But what does that mean for you? Worst in relation to cynicism. Then we've got locked in relation to tact. Locked in relation to tact. And our last set is frail in relation to results. Frail in relation to results. Our dimension that we're working is misalignment with purpose. And the priority point or priority emotion here is locked in relation to tact. So how does being locked and in relation to tact, or perhaps tactless, how does that move you out of alignment with your purpose. Okay, so what we want to do now is we want to combine all of these things together, and we want to just bring all of this in. So let's first start with therapy in relation to principles. Drop in, get a sense of what that feels like. Therapy in relation to principles. Once you've got that, tap on, it's the top back of the head. So maybe on your crown, tap, tap. Vague in relation to time management. Feel into what that feels like within the body. Vague in relation to time management. Once you've got it, tap, tap on your crown. Self in relation to remorse. Feel into that. And tap on the crown. Worst in relation to cynicism. Feel into that one. And tap on the crown. You don't have to go very deep into the emotions. Just as soon as you feel it, then you're there. Locked in relation to tact. Tap on the crown once you've got it. And frail in relation to results. Feel into that one. And tap on the crown. So let's combine all of this together. We're going to work with our first point. So let's quickly just come back to our first point again. That one. So 5 fingers together, place them on there, on your point, and close your eyes and just feel into everything we've spoken about today. Okay, so fingers are in place, you're holding that, close your eyes, breathe slow and deep. Think about territorial in relation to expectations, how that we receive from our lineage as a stain or a marking on our DNA. How it feels when you hear the sentence, I love to be loved. I do not love to be loved. And how that relates to remorse or regret in relation to repulsion. Or perhaps we feel challenged on reaching our goals or struggling to maintain control, struggling to reach our goals. And how we come to a crossroads at this time in our lives. Just slow, deep breathing and feel into everything. We had the emotion of therapy and in relation to principles. Vague in relation to time management. Self in relation to remorse. Worse in relation to cynicism. Locked in relation to tact. Frail in relation to results. Just allow yourself to really, really go deep into whatever it is that you're feeling. Just feel it. It may be uncomfortable, and that's okay. We will pause that in a moment. Just allow yourself to feel as deeply as you can. Perhaps bring your attention and awareness to where it is that you have pain in the body. How does that pain make you feel? We're working with detoxification as well as the immune system. Perhaps your immune system has been firing off in a way that it shouldn't, or perhaps it hasn't been firing off the way it should have. Perhaps there's been some anger issues. Perhaps not an openness to receive from the universe. Perhaps it's time to let go of what no longer serves. Allow yourself to go deep into all of these feelings. And once you feel you have it, then you're going to tap just in front or just behind the hairline. Tap, tap. And then you can release. And you can release all the emotions, release all the feelings, let go of everything. Just take a deep breath in and just come back into this time. Just let all of that go. Okay. So I checked in to see if we had an archetype to work with. So we've got a negative archetype that we want to release, and we've got a positive archetype we want to bring in. Our negative archetype that we want to release is the monk or the nun, also known as the celibate. So this is where we have negative judgments over our physical world. And perhaps renunciation of things. So whether it's wealth or abundance or sex or whatever it is, celibacy, any one of those things, it could be past things that no longer serve. We need to let go of all of those things. Our balancing archetype we want to bring in is the pioneer or the explorer, the innovator. This is where we are passionate about what it is that we're creating, where we create things that haven't been created before. So this is our new archetype that we want to bring in. I also checked to see whether we needed an Orasoma bottle to help with our balance today. And where is my cursor now? Our Orasoma bottle that came up for today's session is, I'm going to come back to those in a moment, is the Archangel Michael bottle. And this is all about surrender to our, surrendering to the divine will, or to come into partnership with God. This is where we rise above our judgments and our attachments, and we get to a place of compassion, and we learn to love the fullness of ourselves in this moment, however we got here. This is where we want to let go of lower emotions that no longer serve. And we get to trust the universe, and we realize that the universe is working to the highest good, or for the highest good of all life. And also remember that you are also part of that life. So there is an affirmation here. The affirmation is, I let go and trust the higher will. I let go and I trust the higher will. I let go and I trust the higher will. Okay, so that is our Orasoma bottle. And let's have a look at what's happening within our layout that we've got with our cards in today's session. So right out on your individuation point, right on top, we've got the Neteru card, which is the God of Gods. So this is our connection to God. And when we talk about gods, this is also you. We are all gods. We are all spirit beings coming into this world to have a physical existence or experience. Then when we come down to our first point, this is on the pineal gland point, and this is Ren, or the true name. And our pineal is connected to the third eye as well as to the crown. And it is, I think, to get the Ren card here is a reminder that we are more than what we are in this physicality. We're more than just our name. We're more than just our ego, because the true name takes you right back out of this reality, out of this physicality, and back to soul level. And so this is a reminder on the pineal over here that we are more than what we seem to be here. Then on our next point down, we've got the chakra system point, and the chakra system point has the Sahu or judge card, and the judge is also associated with our spirit body. So what we wanting to do is we're wanting to bring, because the Sahu is about balance, you can't really see on that card, but as a very faint back image or backdrop to that, there's scales, and the scales are going in both directions. And so this is about getting balance going, not just in this physical realm, but also in the spiritual realm. So to get as above, so below balance going on both sides. So that's what's happening here on our chakra system as well. As above, so below. We're wanting to get that balance going all the way through. Then on the carotid artery over here, we have the air card. Carotid artery is our connection to our parasympathetic nervous system, which also comes up over here. So the Ankh over here is sitting on the parasympathetic nervous system. So there's a connection between the two of them, where the air is saying, okay, it could be oxygen that we bring into the carotid artery. So the carotid artery is our blood supply through to the brain. And so it could be more oxygen to here, but it could also be about purification, and it could be about bringing a lightness into our parasympathetic nervous system. So with this air, we'll get the Ankh, which is life, that comes through. The parasympathetic nervous system is our calming, relaxed state. And so when we are in that state, we come to a space of balance and harmony, and obviously our life starts to grow and expand more from that. On the thyroid point, we have the Jed pillar. The Jed is about restore or repair. And so the thyroid is our, it's sort of our thermostat. It tells our body when to how to regulate our temperature. And so when we look at that, this is also about balance. In general. So if we look metaphysically, thyroid is about balance. So the restore or repair card on here is saying, can we get that balance and structure going so everything can be in alignment the way that it should? So it's quite a nice one to have there. On our emotional respiratory point, we have the radiance card. So bringing light into our emotional aspect of the respiratory system. So perhaps as we're shining the light onto the emotions, where we can brighten up what is good and really put a spotlight on what is no longer serving us. Then we've got, so from there we've got true purpose. We have the fire card. And so this is almost like perhaps what for our purpose, we haven't really been living our purpose recently. And we've been a little bit slow in that field. And so this is really lighting a fire under us so that we can say, let's get onto our purpose. The heart chakra card, or the heart card, is on the heart chakra, which is quite a nice one to have, I think, yeah. And the heart, this is one of the 9 bodies in the Egyptian mythologies. And so the heart itself is actually perhaps putting a heart back in. I see the image of the Tin Man in The Wizard of Oz. And so the Tin Man doesn't have a heart. And so we're putting that heart back in to us. Our stomach point has the Sekhem, which is power. And I think our stomach, from a metaphysical point of view, is to digest life, or to digest our surroundings, digest what is happening to us, our experiences. And Sekhem is really about stepping back into our power. So perhaps we've been feeling a little bit powerless recently, where it felt like life was happening to us instead of for us. And so this is about us taking our power back and saying, well, I am in charge of my life, and I'm taking charge of my life. On the Hepatic Biliary system, we have the Netta Netta Ru cards. So that could be about purification. It could be about stepping up into your godhood, releasing and clearing away anger and frustration, perhaps. Or perhaps just realizing, because I mean, we had Netta Netta Ru right on the individuation point. So it could be that there's a callback to that and saying, like, just remember who you are. The liver is all about cleansing and purification as well. And so the gallbladder and the bile is also about breaking down fats. So where is it that we perhaps, because fat is where we start padding to protect, so where is it that we need to release protection? Then we have on 2 points. We've got this one. So we've got the car on high blood sugar, and we've got the awareness card on low blood sugar. So it's usually we get one or the other, but in this case we got both. And so low blood sugar, high blood sugar, perhaps is bringing in about balance again, or it's talking about balance. Especially since we've got on the solar plexus, we've got the union card. And so there's this whole story here feels like we're needing to balance the sugar levels. But if we're looking metaphysically, sugar is about the sweetness of life. So getting too much sweetness in life is that overindulgence or being smothered by all the goodness of life. And low blood sugar is just like not getting sweetness in life at all. Like life is not sweet, it's actually quite bitter. And so this is about getting that balance point, and then bring it into union in the solar plexus, where we bring everything in, where there's a beautiful balance between the sweetness of having, well, not even having too little or too much sweetness, but bringing a balance in, and a harmony in between all of that. Then we go further down onto our sacral chakra. We have the Ak card, which is our immortal self. And on either side of that, we have small particles. And so we've got the clearing card and the Shin card on the small particles points. Now for that, small particles can come up as small chunks of or pieces of energy that is external to us. This could be physical particles or it could be energetic particles. But whatever it may be, it doesn't really matter, because we have the clearing card and we've got the Shin card. Now, Shin is also known as the eternity card, but Shin is a protective quality. And this is it's an active protection. So actively clearing and protecting those particles and releasing them. So capturing them so we can release them. But the immortal self here is saying, perhaps coming into our immortality and into our godhood yet again. It's on the sacral, which is about creativity, flow, finances, and things like that. So perhaps whatever these particles are could have been something that had kept us from that flow and maybe creativity and finance. And we're capturing all of that, and we are actively removing them, isolating them and removing them. And what is interesting is on the Hara point, just one down, we've got the Chet, which is also a protective quality. I see the Shin as a sort of an active masculine type of protection, whereas the Chet is a feminine protective quality. It also happens to be the symbol itself is the female reproductive organ, so the womb and the ovaries and the vulva. And so it's interesting that it's sitting on the Hara, which is the area where the female reproductive organs would be. And so it feels almost like the clearing and the Shin protection, where it sort of captured all of those particles, is pulling that through into the Chet for further clearing, and then down into the earth point, which is associated with the testes and the ovaries. This is testes ovaries points. And it just sort of makes a zigzag movement that takes us through to the base chakra, which this is the receive card, but the receive card could also be about giving and about offering, or it could be about receiving. So it could be that all of this is being taken or received for us to then offer out. Oh, okay, cool. That's making sense. And being pulled down into our final card that's going to be at the bottom, which I'll show you in a moment. And then we've got on the ileocecal valve, we've got synchronicity. The ileocecal valve is the connection between the small intestine and the large intestine, and that is part of where that valve is very important, because if that valve is not functioning, then poisons and toxins from the colon could slide back into the small intestine. So the ileocecal valve is to ensure that only things come from the small intestine through into the large intestine, and nothing can come back against that valve. And synchronicity, the synchronicity card is that energy of everything happens at the right place and the right time, and that we are in the right place. And so it's also that we are protected again, but perhaps the small particles that we had here came as a result. Whoops, I lost you there. We've got load shedding on this side, so okay, I'm not sure where we lost, but hopefully there's not too much lost. Let me just quickly come back to our screen here. I was talking about the synchronicity. I hope that came up in the recording. I just switched to my mobile data quick. So I feel that this all ties in, especially with the synchronicity, and what we'll see in a moment as well. On the hands, on the right hand, we've got the divine masculine, which is that active energy on the right, which is fine. And on the receptive side, the divine child came through. And then at the earth star, we've got the divine feminine. So we've got this triad following between the divine masculine, divine child, and divine feminine. And it's sort of that triangle represents very much what's happening over here. So whatever is happening in life where you have felt like you're off center, not on track, perhaps not moving in the direction that you need to be moving, all of that's being pulled down and is going into the divine feminine in the earth star. And Gaia is our divine feminine, and she takes any negative junk energy and transmutes and transforms that like compost into something that we can work with. So that's a really beautiful combination of energies that we have there. So what we want to do is we want to go into our balance aspect now. Okay, so you are going to have two points to hold in today's session. The one point is your heart, and the other point is your solar plexus. And you can just place your hands directly on those points. You can keep your hands there for the duration of this. If you need to swap your hands around, that's all fine. Doesn't really matter which one's on top of which one's at the bottom. But the connection with heart and small and solar plexus is all about our quest for purpose. And so today's session is very much around purpose, your sense of purpose, and where you find yourself and also where you're going. So also see how sense of purpose or quest for purpose ties in with your goal or your focus in today's session. Right. So I want you to close your eyes. Nice, slow, deep breathing. And I want you to connect to your body. Whatever that may mean for you, just tune into what your body is feeling right now. Find a feeling within your body that is calling your attention, whether this may be pain or discomfort, perhaps a heavy feeling or an emotion. And I want you to go deeper into that feeling. Remember that the deeper you can feel, the deeper you can heal. So really go deep in that emotion or sense or sensation, whatever it is that you're feeling in your body, go into that. Even if it feels uncomfortable. Now allow yourself to connect to the angels. Perhaps there's one particular angel that you have a connection with. Perhaps there's many. Call in the angels or the angel that you feel connected with. And ask that angel or the angels to help with this particular emotion or feeling or sensation that you're feeling within your body. Perhaps ask the angel or the angels to wrap their wings and arms around you, to support you in your work. Or perhaps to have a bubble of protection around you as you're moving through life. Whatever is appropriate for you, just talk to the angel. If you need a little bit of time, feel free to pause the recording. Again, connect with your body. Sense and feel what's happening within your body as this work is taking place. And now connect to God, the Creator, Source, Great Central Sun, whatever is appropriate for you. And perhaps just calling that God energy or Source energy, Great Central Sun energy, into your body, into your surroundings. Perhaps this is a time to speak to God or Goddess, Creator, in whatever is appropriate for you. Use the time to make your case. Ask what it is that you would like to receive, what you would like to let go of, or what you would like to heal. Now go deeper into the sensation in the body. Perhaps think about what the sensation could potentially mean. Describe the sensation. Perhaps give the sensation a name or an emotion. What could that emotion be? Why is that emotion there? What is the message that the emotion has to give you? Receive a message from the emotion or the feeling that you have within the body. Again, pause the recording if you need to. Try and find an understanding of this message that the body is giving you. Next, we want to create boundaries. So whatever it is that you're feeling within the body, decide whether you want to feel more of that or less of that. And if it's less, we're going to place a boundary between your body and that sensation. If it's more, place the boundary around that sensation and keep it in the body. See it or feel it, just imagine it, however it comes through. So place a boundary between the body and that feeling or around it, whatever is appropriate for you. And then imagine that boundary getting strong and bigger. I always like to see this boundary as a golden light around the body. If you are using that boundary to push out what is no longer needed, see how that boundary is expanding and pushing out the sensation out of the body. You may even feel like you need to release your hands momentarily just to allow that expulsion to happen. If it is something that you want to include in your sensations or feelings, then see that boundary pushing or pulling that energy into the body. And again, you may need to open up the hands momentarily just to receive that. Now connect with a teacher. This could be a real teacher that's alive right now. It could be someone that you're in contact with. It could be a teacher that you just know, maybe from reading a book or something like that. It could be a guide. It could be any teacher. It could even be a teacher from 1,000 years ago or 1,000 years into the future. Whatever this may mean for you, connect with a teacher that you want to connect with right now. What is it that you need or want from this teacher? What can the teacher teach you? Receive from this teacher whatever it is that you need to receive. And if you need to connect with multiple teachers, you're welcome to do that too. Now connect to your soul. All you have to do is just set the intention. Say, I want to connect with my soul. Perhaps feel how the soul comes down or in and surrounds your body and completely envelopes you. Now, there goes our power again. If there is a person involved in your letting go, receiving, or healing, bring that person to mind as well. If there is no person, then it's okay. Just bring yourself into this. And bring the balance and healing in. Don't need to analyze, just see how it plays out for you. Next, you want to bring in an ancestor. So connecting with an ancestor. This could be perhaps the ancestor where the miasm comes from. So if you know who the ancestor is, call that ancestor in. Or perhaps if you don't, just ask for the ancestor to come through that is related to this particular story. And finally, connect to yourself. Get a sense or sensation of what it feels like to be you, whole, complete, fully in your power. Connect with yourself. Just take a deep, slow breath in. Hold for a few seconds. And release. Nice deep breath in. Hold for a few seconds. And release. Another deep breath in. Hold for a few seconds. And release. And when you're ready, you may open your eyes. Okay. Let's come back to just grounding and anchoring all of this in. So our first 2 points was actually 3 points, but we'll start with the 2 base points first. In line with your eyes, just trace a line down to the ribs where just on the edge of the ribs, those are 2 points. You can just do it with the thumb and index finger of the one hand. And then with the other hand, you can maybe, or even with the same hand, if you go middle finger and thumb with the one, and then with the top finger, that's going to place that top triangle down. They're sort of equidistant from each other, these 3 points. Tap onto your hairline, which is behind the hairline. Those are in. And then you're going to place your hands with just your fingers like that on your sternum. So over here and on the stomach. So just on your soft part. I'm just going to place your hands like that. Oops, let's try it this way around so you can see. And just fingertips lightly touching the torso. Hold that. This particular part of the balance is just to release any potential poisons or toxins. This could be energetic or physical. This is just to make sure that there's no bad side effects or anything from the healing that we've done, so that we're really just clearing away all the extra bits and pieces that no longer serves. You may feel that your fingers slowly start floating a little bit further away from the chest. That's okay. Just allow that to happen as it does. Breathing slow and deep. Until you feel that your hands sort of become loose and they are relaxed. Then you can release that. Next point, we take our fingers in a line, place that onto your forehead, and the other hand will go just above your crown. And we're just going to hold that for a little bit. It's our body alignment point. You may find that the top hand may float a little bit, it may bounce, or it may circulate, whatever happens there, just allow that to happen. And release that. And then the last 2 points, just take your middle fingers, place that on the mastoid process. So if you take from your earlobes, just that bone, that round bone behind the head, just place your fingers there, press a little bit. That's our save button to say save this balance and get it all into our system. Beautiful. Okay, so there's some homework for you that you can do in the next week or so. Homework that came up is herbalism. So perhaps get some herbal teas, or perhaps there's herbs that you need to take. I'm not going to prescribe anything here. Herbalism, see what makes sense for you. How does it relate to your situation? How can you incorporate herbs into your daily life? And the other one is cross-crawling. Cross-crawling is a kinesiology technique that we do to balance the hemispheres of the brain and to also just get the body into alignment. I will add a video link that you can use to a YouTube clip, but there's many. If you just do a search on YouTube for cross crawl, standing cross crawl, you will find that. There are many out there. So that's going to be your homework. And I think that's it for today's session. We had a little bit of a glitch somewhere along the way. I can't even remember where that was within the balance, but I'm sure that will be at some significant point because everything happens as it should and as well as it does. And I'm sure there was some appropriate thing happening over there. I just hope everything recorded. So I'm going to stop this video and I'm going to do a little bit of balancing work on the chart over here next to me. And once all of this is ready, I'm going to upload this and then share that with you. So I'm wishing you a wonderful day ahead and happy solstice 2 days from now. And then we've got Christmas and New Year's and all of those things coming. I'm not even sure when is so Christmas is coming on Sunday. So which means your next session will be on the 26th, the day after Christmas. I don't know if any of you celebrate. If you do, Merry Christmas to you. And I will see you on the 26th, then the day after Christmas. Yes, there will be a recording. It will be on. I'm not going to let you not have a session. So we're having one every Monday, come rain or shine. So sending you lots of love and light, and take care and many blessings to you. Bye.